glad you're here. Got a story about a campsite, and there's some campers there, and they're observing. Here comes this camper full of kids, and they jump out, they run around, they start setting up the tent, and they pull out the little ice chest, and they lay out the tarps, and they put up the canopies, and they all get this done, and it seems like an extraordinarily fast time. Then the kids just split and they run off to an area, and one of the campers, came over to talk to the dad and goes, I haven't seen this before. I mean, you guys set up camp in just record time. How do you get your kids to do that? And the father said, and this is kind of mean, but I found it funny. The father said, no one gets to go to the bathroom until camp is set up. And so that would be a hard dad, right? But I thought, wow, what kind of motivation. There's an urgency in getting the job done and teamwork, right? Nobody's arguing with one another because you just want to get the camp set up. So I thought, in that kind of idea, how much more should we be in the Spirit, setting the stage for one another, praying for one another, especially for the church. And this is kind of be a little bit selfish because I'm going to ask you to be praying for your pastor. Paul did this, and it reminded me of passages in Colossians right towards the end of the book where Paul reminds them of prayer. Now, you might think that these are things that, apostles, theologians, you just throw it in at the end of the book to, got to close it out, got to say something, you got to fill the space, but it really isn't that. It's kind of the same thing that you tell your kids is put on your coat, make sure you have a hat, make sure you have your keys, make sure you stay out of the street, be home by a certain time. These are essentials for you and your well-being. So Paul, and he says this is the end of Colossians, later on in the book, chapter 4, verses 2 through 4. He says, continue earnestly in prayer, being vigilant in it with thanksgiving. Meanwhile, praying also for us, Paul, the apostles, Timothy, that God would open to us a door for the word to speak the mystery of Christ, this special message of Christ, for which I am also in chains, that I may make it manifest as I ought to speak. So we're preferring to be earnest in prayer. Now, what he's saying is, in diligence and this kind of thing, he's saying two things. A continuance, which is an alertness in prayer, and a thanksgiving in prayer. Those two things contribute to your well-being so much. An alertness in prayer is just that you're aware of what's going on in the church, what's going on in your other people's lives, what's going on in general, so that you see the hand of God moving, and we're up to speed, right? Thessalonians says pray without ceasing. Again, Paul's putting it in there because it's important. Pray without ceasing. What do you mean, Paul? I'm on my knees, my hands lifted to heaven the whole time. He's like, no, I want you to have an attitude of prayer all the time, like a normal conversation you would have with a mentor, with an advisor, with your friend, with your loved one, is where you're constantly throwing these things out, and so that you're conversationally praying. And I used to do this all the time, and sometimes I get so busy I forget to just include God in what I'm thinking and say it out loud, but say it to Him. Instead of it's just the formal time, I'm praying with a group, I'm praying with a person, this is my time to pray, bow my head. That's all good, right? But we need to be in that constant refreshment of prayer that not only causes us to think about things to alert us, but also that the Holy Spirit can alert us these things are going on. And just to be grateful, right, in these things. Being grateful, being alert helps you to avoid certain things. Being grateful helps you to when you go through things, good and bad, it helps you to have your sanity, right? Because in this world, it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to be a naysayer. It's so easy to get disturbed, upset. But be grateful for the things you have. First and foremost, for your life in Christ, right? But all the other opportunities that could be around you. There's persecution. Well, pray for revival. Pray for open doors. Pray for God to get boldness through the church, not just the pastor, apostle, whatever, that there be boldness to speak these things. Paul says, I'm bold. I'm in chains, right? And I want to continue to be bold outside of being chained, outside of being inhibited by these things, in the hope of going forward, being attentive, being in tune with what's going on. Therefore, and being alert has this. We are praying about understanding the situation. We're not praying about giving God the solution all the time. Because a lot of times, and I confess, this happens to me too, I go to God and I'm like, I think I have it all figured out. I think I observe these things going on. Here's what I need, Lord. Here's what they need. Here's what Paul is saying, pray for, we know for sure God wants to see people saved. Jesus died for all the world. Every single person. He desires all to come to the knowledge of his Son, Jesus Christ, and to be saved. So you can pray with that. You're alert to that. You can pray with that knowledge, right? So may we have freedom to preach the word. But he didn't go into exact measures because allow God to open the door. When you're praying and you're alert and God opens the door, then you can go through those doors and down that avenue to pursue that, right, wholeheartedly. And I oftentimes catch myself, maybe you've done this too, of I'm assessing the situation and I want the best outcome in my mind, not necessarily God's avenue for the best. God's avenue for the best might be Pilgrim's Progress. Might be that I go through things I don't want to go through, but that could be his best, and I got to be open to that. So I got to stop thinking this is the perfect solution, and this is what we want to happen, and I'm going to pray that. And God goes, that's limiting me. I got something far better over here. Do you want that? And you're like, well, now that you mentioned it, yeah, but we tend to be short-sighted, and we tend to favor, and that's human nature, we favor the blessing and not sometimes the blessing that comes through an avenue that's a little bit more the road less traveled, right? It's the road we really don't want to be in. In Luke 12:56, he chided the Pharisees because he says, you hypocrites, you discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is it you do not discern this time? Discerning the time. Okay, we're not reading into it and we're not giving solutions, but certain things, if you're aware, if you're paying attention, are obvious. And he's saying, you guys go and you look at the sky and you guys are getting pretty good at forecasting what's coming in the future. You're your own, biblical times meteorologist, right? We don't need this fancy radar and everything. We can just go outside, we can look, hey, the clouds are a certain way. We can smell the moisture in the air. We can feel the pressure, my knees aching, right? My ankles creaking. It's going to rain. We know this. Well, he's saying you can figure out those signs. How come you're not figuring out the spiritual signs? And oh my gosh, how Jesus is like, wonk, wonk, wonk. Here's the sign for you. The Messiah's right here. How many more signs do you need of seeing people raised from the dead, of people being healed, of feeding thousands with almost nothing, for seeing the paralytics be able to walk, and the mute being able to talk, and the deaf being able to hear? What else do we need, right? The signs being fulfilled in prophecy wasn't there. Well, we may not have something that dramatic, but we need to know that we are on target, right? And one of the things that causes us not to be on target is a spiritual drowsiness, because we're going through a cycle, and you get going kind of, I don't want to say a rut, because you kind of know when you're in a rut and you want to get out of a rut, but you can get into a drone, right? Not the kinds that fly, just like the same routine, the same sound, the same thing going on. It's like when I like to drive, right? I wouldn't do it for a living, but if I'm traveling, I like to drive, because if I'm in the passenger seat, the drone of the motor, the road kind of massaging you, you know, if it's if you're in the land of enchantment, or we like to say the land of orange barrels, the road may not be massaging you, but jerking you, right? Like some crazy Swedish massage, you know, just throwing you around. But if you're on a road that's kind of, you hear the wind noise, the motor noise, the road noise, and it's just droning, it easily puts me to sleep, right? We don't want to be put to spiritual, you know, drowsiness and fall asleep in front of the Lord. When he's saying stay alert, he's like, be engaged. Pray for these things. Follow up on these things. In 1 Thessalonians 5, 6 through 8, he talks about moral readiness. He says, therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night. And those who get drunk are drunk at night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and as a helmet, the hope of salvation. In the midst of this, he's saying, you know, we need to be aware, because the night comes in and sucks people in and causes them to be frivolous, to do things they shouldn't be doing. Then people are getting drunk because it's under this cloud and cover of darkness, that they're not being aware, and you're not aware because you can't see. But if you're in prayer, you become more and more spiritually alert. More and more light filters into your eyes, your soul, your mind. More that the Spirit can bring you aware. You're aware of things that are dulling your senses, like sin or anger or other things that are coming in that are clouding you because you're so fearful of the situation or the political horizon or whatever. Don't worry about it. Get in tune with the Lord, because in tune with the Lord, you're going to have clarity and sight that allow you to make wise decisions, not only to protect yourself, but to go forward with a clear statement, a clear avenue, a clear road before you, right? That you can do what the Lord's called you to do, but also allows you to pray for those who could be doing that. So I ask, would you pray for me? Would you pray for your pastor for wisdom? Would you pray that God open up the doors in a miraculous way so that we can get the word out in these times? My heart is burdened for people, not only to train men and women for ministry and to send them out, but I do that so that they can minister to people. My heart is burdened because I see this darkness spreading over the land, and I want our ministry to shine the light and be to make an impact. And that I don't want to be famous. I want to make an impact. I want to help God's kingdom come about, and I need your help. I need your prayers. We need you to continue to give. I'm so thankful for our church giving. Even in the midst of this pandemic, you guys have given. We've fallen off a little bit, but I mean, there's churches that may not open their doors because of this whole thing going on, and some that haven't opened their doors, and they need to, for the people who want to come out. If people are at high risk, they need to stay home, and we can do this, right? But I'm so hungry, I want to go out and I want to do so much more. So I'm asking for your prayers. The thing that would stop you and stop me from moving forward in this is that the enemy comes in. The enemy tries to put us down and to beat us up, but that's part of being alert, right? In 1 Peter 5:8 it says, be of a sober spirit. Be on the alert. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. He's looking for people who are isolated. He's looking for people who are weak. I've been praying for our church, and I'm happy to see faces and see people return, and it hurts me because I can't get out to places, and even people who've been in the hospital or other things, they're not letting me in. And so it's been a little frustrating for me too on that but I can pray, and you can pray for us, but the devil is trying to distract you and discourage you. Don't let that happen. Make your prayers a regular conversation with the Lord. When you're feeling that way, when you're getting angry, when you get frustrated with the spouse, you're feeling depressed, just immediately stop talking to the Lord. Lord, I'm just feeling down. Oh, I'm getting so mad. Lord, help me in this situation. Lord, give me hope. Give me direction, Lord. Allow me to pray. And when you pray and fast and sacrifice for other people, your joy begins to return because God is working, right? And so don't diminish the thanksgiving when He is working. That gratefulness comes into our heart and plays a big role to help us to have that hope, to have those things. You may think, well, the political climate's getting terrible. I'm like, yeah, I'd hate to have that, but it's going to cause people not to walk the fence anymore. They won't walk the middle of the road. And I think we're going to see more and more people seeking and searching, and when they do that, God says, when you do that with your whole heart, you're going to find me. I think we're going to be there to be offering up Christ and His love to people to transform lives. And so I'm grateful for things that may not look good, they may look bleak, but they can bring around really a lot of light and hope and transformation in people's lives as they begin to either get serious with the Lord or get to know Him for the first time. And so this gratefulness, thankfulness, it puts us in a place where we can have a proper attitude, right? Otherwise we become, like Paul said in Romans 1, we become futile in our thoughts. Our thoughts become vain and empty. The idea there is that if you're not conversing with God, if you're not honoring God, if you're not thankful for those things, what do you have? You only have the things in the world, and it becomes futile and vain because they're not going to bring true lasting hope or happiness or fulfillment. The satisfaction we get from that is fleeting, it's illusionary, it's ephemeral, it's just not, it's not real. It's not deeply satisfying in the heart. And so because of that, when you're grateful and you're focusing on the things of God and you're focusing on Him, it goes beyond what you have in front of you. Hey, beans and hot dogs become a gourmet meal when you're sharing it with the Lord, right? Happiness with the Lord and a little bit in your household, it goes a long way, as opposed to you can live in a mansion and not receive hardly anything. No blessing, no joy. You can have caviar and oysters and for me, I always say steaks, right? So you can have that, but if you don't have the Lord, what good is it? But how much better if you have that ribeye with the Lord. So, woo, looks good. I think that's about it. I just wanted to say, hey, there's opportunity for clarity, for work within the church and during these times. And I wanted to bring a positive message and also just remind us of the things that we need to do. Because God stirred up my heart in this way too. Look, good things can be right on the horizon. And we've got to be people who are optimistic and then pray for opportunities. And when they come, you've got to take them. You've got to take them like Jonathan, Lord, if they tell us, wait, they're going to come down here, we're going to run, right? But if they say come up here, then you know what? God's given us this land. He's given us the battle, and we're going to go up. You still got a battle. You still got to climb that hill, right? But that opportunity was right there because somebody asked. You have not because you ask not. So ask for big things. Ask for big things for yourself, for your church, for your pastor, that we might go forward during this time. Let's not be afraid. Let's go forward in power and in love and in great authority, because he sits on the throne and he's got all power and authority in heaven and earth, and he operates in the greatest love ever. All right? Hope this blesses you. See you next week.